ROI Safety Services. Welcome. Happy Friday the 9th. And this is our first live um, training session, I guess we can call it, or information session. And the topic today is what you need to know to be OSHA compliant. I'm tempted to call this part one. Maybe we'll call it part one of three, maybe. I don't know. Let's just see what we can get covered today. My purpose for today is to give you an idea of what are some of the important areas we can put into place as a small business, medium-sized business, whatever size your business is, and implement these things and have a zero injury working environment. So there's lots of different things that we can do when it comes to safety. Inherently, we want to do things safe, or we do things safe because we want to protect ourselves, and we don't want to get hurt. But what are the requirements? What can we put into place that will absolutely ensure that we don't have any problems with OSHA, we don't have any problems with workers' comp or attorneys, and most importantly, keep our employees safe. So that's the approach we're going to take today. I have a little bit of a PowerPoint deck that I'm going to go through. I won't cover it all, but I want to give you a taste of what you can do as a small business in implementing immediately, like right now, some of these safety things that you can ensure that will help you maintain compliance. And this is not 100% exhaustive, but it's a step forward in creating a zero injury work environment. Again, my name is Jesse. I'm with ROI Safety Services. We are physically located in Southern California, and we specialize in coming to your location wherever you are in the U.S. We come to you. We provide on-site, site-specific training. So that is what we specialize in. Everything we do is site-specific. We don't do these generic trainings. We don't go to hotels and train 50 different companies because it doesn't make sense for what we do. We are an OSHA trainer. We train specifically on OSHA requirements that need to be site-specific. Okay. So what does all that mean today? Well, we want to focus today on how to make sure that our company is operating safely. And the way I look at it is every company can start off by doing what in our industry is called job hazard analysis. It's very simple. It's basically looking at a job, evaluating it, and going step by step over each step and ensuring that you're doing them safely. I'm going to cover the big highlights of how you can do that. You literally can go out and do it immediately. Nobody knows your business better than you. Nobody knows your business better than you. I can go to your site. I can watch you do a process, but I am not going to know it like you. So getting out there, looking at your people, or even maybe you even do the process and look at each step. Now, what I can help you with is how to break it down into manageable steps, and then making sure that each of those steps you're ensuring safety for that process. So that is what I can do for you. But again, it is a relationship, it is a process, and it never ends in the workplace because it can always get better. You get new processes, you get new equipment, you get new people. So those are the things that you need to consider. So I'm going to go over these sections here on the JHA. So step one, define the hazard. What are you doing? What is exactly the hazard? Identify how the JHA can be valuable. Planning, production, profit, and safety tool, and then identify which jobs to assess and how to prioritize them. So we'll probably get deep into that. Know the step process of completing a JHA. We may just skip on to that one. Let's see how much time we have. So workers in the first year with their new employer account for more than half of the disabling claims. That is, I think it might be more. That is pretty true in terms of the majority of our clients. So why are these workers getting hurt? Well, let's be honest, they don't get training. How many of us want to put resources into a new hire? We're not even sure if they're going to be here in a month. That's not the attitude to have. That is not the attitude to have. It should be the other way around. When we hire somebody, they should be in training, learning the processes before they even turn a wrench or pick up any equipment or do anything. They need to have training before they start that position. They perform unsafe work procedures. They use inadequate PPE. There is no safety oversight. There's no JHA or JSA. There's none of that prior to them beginning work. I just met a person the other day who started a job in a casting facility, and he was not given proper training, and he was injured pretty bad. And it was because he just didn't have training. They hired him on. Somehow he got through the new hire orientation, and this happens often. So what is a JHA? How is it? What's the definition? It is a technique that focuses on job tasks as a way to identify hazards before they result in an injury, illness, or property damage, or worse. It focuses on relationship between the worker, the task, the tools, and the work environment. Ideally, after you identify uncontrolled hazards, you will take steps to eliminate them. That is key. Once you identify the hazards, then you must eliminate them or reduce the risk to an acceptable level. A JHA is also known as a JSA. It doesn't matter what you call it. Hazard assessment is job safety analysis, whatever you want to call it. I don't care. You can call it whatever you want, but we got to get them done. We got to get them done. We have to have a system in place. So completing your JHA is a good thing, and it's an ongoing process. It reduces injuries. It could eliminate injuries if you have the right processes or JHAs in place. It reduces absenteeism, increased productivity, increased morale, and it protects employees. I tell you what, there is nothing worse than having an injury in your workplace to kill morale. It is terrible, terrible. So these are some huge pluses if you're doing these JHAs in terms of increasing morale and overall, enjoyment of a working environment. If people are getting hurt, it makes for a rough environment. It sets the performance standards. It standardizes operations based on acceptable safe practices and PPE. It provides a form of training documentation regarding the employee's knowledge of the job requirements. And this is crucial when you are doing a JHA. JHAs are not done only by the safety guy, only by the manager. It is a group of individuals who know the job. An ideal group of people to do JHAs would be the manager of the department, the operator of the equipment who use it, and a maintenance person. The person actually doing the job every day should be the person leading the conversation, like these are the steps I take, and the management should definitely have an influence, and then the maintenance person may see things that we don't see. And that is what I recommend. Those three key people would be excellent. Not necessarily all need to be there, but I'll tell you what, who does need to be there? The person doing the job. But having even your safety person there, but having a team group doing the JHAs is absolutely required because you want to get everybody's input. Now, once you do your first round of job hazard analysis, if you have other people using that very same equipment, you get their feedback as well. The more people that get enrolled in this process, the more effective it will be. I personally will want to get everybody involved. So if I got 6 CNC machines and 12 people working in that department, I want everybody's input. And we'll do the first round of JHAs, and then we'll give them to everybody in the department, have them review them and get feedback. You do that a couple times, you're going to have a really, really fruitful job hazard analysis program. I'm telling you, this is where it's at in terms of hazard assessment and ensuring compliance with OSHA, is getting everybody enrolled. So what are the key terms in the JHA? I'm going to go over this pretty quick. What is a job? It's anything you're doing, any activity, loading, unloading a truck, running a job on a CNC, painting a piece in a paint booth. It could be any of those things. A forklift, here's an example here. So there's lots of different activities. And a hazard is anything that's going to, obviously it's going to harm you, right? And then controlling it, minimizing the risk. These are all things that we want to look at. I will look at engineering controls. I will also look at, do we even need to do it? Is this process so important that we need to do it on site? Do we need to have a cyanide dip tank for this process? Can we outsource it? So those are some things that we need to consider as a business. Is the risk worth it? Or can we outsource it? Then we go to engineering controls. Then we go to administrative controls. Then we go to PPE. But unfortunately, most people will always fall back to PPE. Why? Because it's the least expensive and easiest to implement. Is it the best? Nope. It is absolutely one step away, one choice away of having an eye injury or having a burn. Because now I have to rely on that employee to use the PPE. And we all know that people take the road most traveled, and sometimes they forget, and sometimes they're not responsible in terms of being present to their job, ensuring that they have the right PPE on. They're so distracted on whatever. So putting PPE first is not a good idea. It never is. So the JHA process is simple. You break down the job step by step by step. Identify the hazard and then implement the control to mitigate that hazard or eliminate that risk. Okay? Now the final product is a written standard of safe operation. And these can literally be done in just a few minutes. I have one client who every time they have a vendor come in or a contractor come in, they literally sit down and do a job hazard analysis with that individual. What a great idea that is. Hey, what are you here to do? I'm here to replace your filters on your, HVAC system. Okay, let's do a JHA real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Does that sound good to you? Does it look, did I hit all your points? Yep. Okay, good. Sign it. Go to work. Beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it. Great idea. Probably takes 5 to 10 minutes. And now you're ensuring that contractor has done everything to operate safe at your facility. And if something were to happen, find out, where did the JHA fail? So this is a job hazard analysis. Now this is about the most basic one and the easiest one to do. I like to use this one just because it's so simple. And you're basically just putting down step 1. What are you doing? What is the hazard? What are you going to do to control that hazard? It's an easy process. I must say it's an easy process because I've done it 100 times, right? Or 1,000 times. But if you've never done it before, I get it. It could be kind of confusing because you've never done it. So it's good to, outsource, your first round of JHAs. And then, for example, what we like to do at ROI is we'll come out, we'll do some job hazard analysis training. We'll do a couple classes of training, and then we'll actually do a JHA, maybe 10 different machines, and then get you guys in a rhythm of doing these JHAs, and then you guys are free to go out and get them all done on your own. Ideally, that's the best way to do them. So you put your name, description of the job, what are the hazards, what are the steps to mitigate that hazard, what kind of training do you need? And so these JHAs can go on to other JHAs. So let's say you're loading and unloading a truck. Well, what would be some of the risks there? Operating a forklift, moving freight that it has chemicals on it. So you should have HAZCOM training. You need forklift training. Um, you need to wear your PPE. You need to have safety boots on. So those are some things that we would look at. You may even have. I love using flowcharts and pictures. That is a little more advanced than what we're talking about today. But once you've mastered the process of creating a job hazard analysis, when you get into doing pictures and video and flowcharts, that's when you really get into that next level. And I hope each of you will consider that is doing video. I like video. Video is very easy to communicate what needs to be done. A really good example of using a video would be how to shrink wrap a pallet with an automated shrink wrapping machine. A video would be great to walk through that process. Very easy to do because you could actually see how the machine works. So that's where I think video could really serve well in doing a JHA. So where do you begin? Get everyone involved. Look at history of that position or that process, and the more people you get involved, the easier it will be to manage, especially at scale. All right, this is where we're going to end today. Now, this is really step one, identifying your hazards, looking at your JHAs, and I think the next step will be to actually identify who can do them, what department, where's our greatest risk, and those are some things that we can touch on potentially next week. I wanted to get the first step done of what is a JHA, how can it benefit me, and what are the general guidelines of that. So we'll continue on with this conversation next week. Again, my name is Jesse. I'm with ROI Safety Services. I'd love to get some feedback from you. Like us and subscribe to my channel, and we will really, I want to hear back from you guys. What makes sense for you? What other things would you like to talk about? I have other things on there on the YouTube channel. I did a wonderful interview with a workers' comp attorney, Amanda. She did a wonderful job. I do want to do an interview with OSHA in the near future on violence in the workplace, and then also maybe silica in the workplace. There's some big standards coming or requirements for those. But I want to do the things that make sense. So give me a call, text me, email me. I'm available. My number is 714-520-1608. Again, my name is Jesse McClellan with ROI Safety Services. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend.